very warm welcome to Political Economy with Shweta Punj. The last few days, the one story that has been making headlines is the latest report by Hindenburg Research alleging that the Sebi chief, Ms. Madhabi Buch, and her husband, Dhaval Buch, had stakes in offshore funds used in the alleged Adani money siphoning scandal. The Buches have denied the allegations very categorically, and SEBI has come out and said that it has adequate internal mechanisms for addressing issues related to conflict of interest, provisions for recusal, and so on. Just to give context, why is this significant? It was in January 2023 that this saga began. Hindenburg Research at that time released a report accusing Adani Group of stock manipulation and accounting fraud. SEBI has since given Adani a clean sheet, and they are alleging that the SEBI chief had personal vested interest in this entire case. The report was published before the follow-on public offer of Adani Enterprises. Again, a very, very significant detail because Hindenburg Research is considered to be a short seller. Well, the markets at that time, when this report was released in January 2023, gave Adani stocks a beating. However, this time around, the report was released late Saturday night, and Monday morning, it's almost like the markets completely shrugged off this research report. So what is really going on over here, and who are the key stakeholders, and what are the implications of this on the Indian stock market regulator and on India as an investment destination? First, very quickly, let's take you through the key stakeholders in the story. There's Hindenburg Research, which is a New York-based research firm that, according to their website, specializes in forensic financial research. There's the Adani Group. With its 10 publicly traded companies, it has a market cap of $200 billion. There's Madhabi Buch, the chairperson of SEBI, and there is Dhaval Buch, husband of Madhabi Buch, and a senior advisor at Blackstone and Alvarez and Marsal. There are several narratives emerging to the story. It has led to a political storm in the parliament, with the opposition asking for a JPC probe. Is a JPC probe essential? Could the rebuttal have been more detailed? Is there some truth to the allegations made by Hindenburg Research? To put all that in perspective, I have with me two key people who've really tracked this story very, very closely. Markets editor, Moneycontrol, and Mahalakshmi. And we have with us Vikas Khemani, founder of Carnelian Capital. The two key stakeholders, the two key people who've tracked the story very, very closely. So let me begin by asking you, Vikas, about the significance of this report. Let me begin by asking you, Vikas. Hindenburg has this huge shock element, surprise element, but this time around, the report came out late Saturday night. By Monday morning, it almost seemed like the stock markets had completely brushed this off. So, how are you reading into this, and why is it that the markets were so completely dismissive of this Hindenburg report?
So, if you just see the content of the report, it is clearly, agenda-driven, far from the facts, attempt to create a narrative. And also, I think very clearly by now, see, when first time they came, market was not aware about what Hindenburg was all about, what they were doing. And after the whole Adani episode, market has seen that, those things fizzled out, nothing was found out. And if you see, they have tried this in many other markets, and many markets they have failed. And now this time around, when they have come out, there's clearly, there is a agenda-driven report. So these are things not called research reports. They are just sensational reports, and also they are doing this for their own profit. So it's like this, that if time and again I come and say in the market which is suiting my agenda rather than giving an independent opinion, my credibility will go down. And Mahalakshmi or you guys will stop calling me for interview, right? Same way happens that when they come out with agenda driven, and market will stop listening. So this is a complete in my opinion non-substantive uh, bad whatever report, and hence markets have ignored that. Thankfully, it came over the weekend, so market had time to chew over it, SEBI had time to respond to it, and I think so
Right.
by the time markets opened, everything was sorted. If it
Mm.
came during the week, probably short term, many people might have got panicked, but at least thankfully it came over the weekend, which was a blessing in disguise.
Okay, so let's just quickly go over some of the key things that the reporters alleged. They have alleged that the SEBI chief and her husband had stakes in offshore funds used in the alleged Adani money siphoning scandal, and we've seen SEBI's response to this. We've seen Miss Madhabi Puri's response to this as well, the rebuttal. So, do you think the rebuttal clearly says that she did recuse herself and she did make all the disclosures that were necessary?
Absolutely. I mean, I have 0% doubt in what Ms. Buch has put out, SEBI chairperson has put out. It is factual. Whereas on the other side, it is trying to manipulate certain facts to create a narrative. There's nothing wrong before joining SEBI if she invests into any fund. There's nothing wrong. And even if so what, if it went to Adani, so what? Your fund managers invest wherever, right? Factually, they have not invested anything in Adani Group. That is savings in, again, blessing in disguise. But they might have also invested. Does not link. It's like if you give money to me and I invest into Adani, does not mean that you and Adani have some link, right? It's a very small portion of the overall fund. It's a small portion of their net worth. So I think these are all again, we have to see in the light of overall picture, and I think they are very clearly kind of outlined rationale of their investing, why they did, because of the fund manager, childhood friend. As he left, they withdrew their money. So I think it's very clear that there's no evidence prima facie of any wrongdoing, and anybody who's even novice can figure that out.
The need for a more detailed rebuttal to counter each and every to disclose each and every company or investment. Do you think SEBI needs to go a step further, or Miss Buch and Dhaval Buch need to come out with a more detailed rebuttal?
I don't think at all. I don't think any kind of further clarification is required. The matter is tested. Especially it's like this. Anybody who has no downside can keep asking questions because he has no downside. He has no power, position of power. The only choice left to the person is that you keep explaining. So more you explain, they will ask you more. So in my opinion, matter is done and dusted. One should not waste time behind all these things because I mean, it is not SEBI's job to kind of keep. Who's Hindenburg? It's some random firm. They didn't even respond to SEBI's show cause notice. So either first they decide whether they really are under the purview of jurisprudence of SEBI or no. So if why should SEBI should respond? SEBI has given their clarification because we are a democracy. If it was anywhere else, I don't think anybody would have even bothered. Probably they would be banned. So they should thank that the Indian markets are so open that even today you are discussing 2 days after this also, right? In fact, my request to all media houses is that please stop doing shows on this kind of frivolous reports so that they don't get credence. Unfortunately, every media house has a big show on that and giving credence to these kind of stupid things. I mean, this is also having faith in our own system. I do believe that Indian regulators have done a fabulous job in terms of bringing transparency, governance, and development of the capital markets. It is far, far, far better than many places globally, including United States of America. And today, our regulators are far more forward thinking. They are thinking of online at same day settlement, online surveillance using AI and all. Which regulators are doing this? So what I'm saying is that we have to take a lot of pride in our own institutions and stop debating and discussing and questioning their credibility when anybody
Okay.
non grata starts questioning us.
Okay. So, the opposition has been asking for a JPC probe on this. Do you think all those demands are very outlandish?
Undoubtedly. I mean, first of all, people who are, in my opinion, who have no brains can do this, because JPCs for what? JPCs for some very serious matter related to economy. This is, first of all, who's Hindenburg? They are a for-profit organization which publishes report for their own benefit and for their own clients. And if they are, and the whole business is short selling, do you expect them to really write positive things about anything else? Taking the, and that's, and if somebody analyzes, like I said, somebody analyzes the the whole clarification. After that, there's no question. But I think currently the sad part about our opposition is that they need to really have substantive matters to discuss which concerns economy. I am not saying there are no matters of which concern economy. They should bring out something, because we need a great, strong, qualified opposition which brings out real matters to and ask for JPC on the real matters of economy, not these kind of stupid things.
Hmm. Okay. This whole narrative that we are seeing, that this is an attack on India's regulator, it is to put India down. Do you see this having an impact? This question is for both of you, Mahalakshmi and Mr. Khemani. Do you see this having an impact, or will this hang like a dark cloud over the credibility of the Indian market regulator? Mahalakshmi, you want to start?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think markets are a different animal. Our markets have been, stock markets or stocks have been on the rise for a very different set of reasons. And I don't think this puts any question on the credibility of our stock markets per se. And the fact that we have uh, weathered even the worst days of fall in global markets, we have fallen much less than other markets. The fact that yesterday's Hindenburg's day before yesterday's report affected a few stocks, which is some pockets, some Adani stocks, not all of them, and the rest of the market was pretty much flat, tells you that the market is not, as a whole, is not responding to this. And that's
Okay.
because they are driven by fundamentals, they are driven by lots of other things. And as a regulator, I think it has to be said, whatever questions have been raised, I think a lot of disclosure has already happened. I would say, being in media, in our defense, Vikas, I would say that more disclosure is never unwelcome, right? This is Madhabi's own philosophy. She said, we are a disclosure based regime. And that's why I'm not surprised, Shweta, that it was at 1:40 at night on Saturday that the statement from Madhabi and Dhaval came in, the first
Yeah.
statement. It was at 1:40 at night. So obviously she had the commitment to do it the same night. It didn't wait for the next day.
So again, I have the same point of view, that I don't think there's any credibility question or credibility crisis for the regulators. I continue to believe Indian regulators, both SEBI and RBI, has done a fabulous job in developing the Indian banking system and Indian capital markets. I don't at all agree that, just because somebody is asking, the people in power has to keep giving more clarification and transparency. That way, I think there are 100 firms which will keep writing every day something in the public, and all the job regulator and people in power will keep doing it regularly. So I think these kind of accusations, in my opinion, are never welcome, and less credence is given to. Yes, if a firm of a credibility asks these questions, yes, there should be, if somebody seeks and if a journalism, let's say your firm finds out something, asks a question, I can understand. You're a credible platform, you are a non-profit, you are not agenda driven platform. But some foreign firm whose agenda is only to create negative narrative and benefit from them, how do you expect them to say anything good or positive? So I don't think, you have to see who is saying what is saying, and let us not question our I am not saying our systems are perfect. If you have a separate conversation saying how should we improve, I can tell you 10 suggestions. But I think it's a time when something like this happens, all of us should come together and outrightly reject these kind of elements who are trying to create narrative that Indian markets are weak, Indian governance is weak. What happens is that somewhere, some part of media written one line, people will, even 1% people create that narrative, get that impression that India governance is weak, is bad, and that is what their objective is.
Okay, I just want to go back to the point that Mahalakshmi had made about Madhabi Puri as a regulator. In her tenure, Mahalakshmi, if you could just take us through some of the most landmark decisions and changes that she's brought in. She's known to be very upfront, and she's known to be really to really be very reform oriented.
Oh, absolutely. And I wouldn't specify like landmark, regulations that he's brought in, but I would just say that I think one remarkable thing about, actually, there are several remarkable things about Madhavi. And one of the, I think, centerpiece of her regulatory focus is the customer.
Hmm.
And when you root for the customer's cause, in this case, actually, there are two objectives. If you are a regulator, what is the main objective that should be your focus? One is
Hmm.
orderly development of capital markets. Second is investor protection. So on
Hmm.
both counts, I think she's done a lot. So when you say, for example, shortening the settlement cycle, so whether it is listing of bonus shares, listing of IPOs, normal settlement that happens now, we are at T plus zero. It's optional, but it's T plus zero, which means at some point in time you can already see that settlement can be real time. Means there is no money stuck in between. So not a bank, not a broker is going to make money off your money. Your money is your money. Your shares exit, your money comes in real time. So we are almost getting there. So it's a big leap, and this will be, the first time in the world that something like this will happen. So I think one of the things about Madhavi is also that she wants to be number one, world class in several areas. She takes pride in that, and I think India should take pride in that. That's one. Second thing is, in terms of I mean, if you've been in markets long enough, in 2008, when markets fell, Vikas would know that it would be jitters on the street, so many defaults, margin calls, clients getting, etc., etc. Risk management and surveillance is another level altogether. I mean, even on a day like June 4, not too many brokers reported, too many margin calls or defaults, all of that. It's a thing of the past. So that's again one thing. The third aspect is her extreme focus on technology. Now, we are graduating to a system where SEBI, imagine a public institution applying AI to scan IPO documents and make sure that the process is speeded up.
Hmm.
So and the other thing is about her leadership style. I mean, she's brought in that private sector dynamism into public sector institution, which is very hard, Shweta. We can't underappreciate this aspect because what is in it for all the SEBI employees, right? They
Absolutely.
don't get extra bonuses. You have very less leeway to reward them, but to galvanize the institution to ensure that you are able to work for this higher cause, which is a difficult task. So she's tried to bring that into the organization. I
Hmm.
think technology focus, customer orientation or investor orientation,
Hmm.
those are some things. And she's a very strict regulator, and she's very straight speaking, as we get to know every quarter. We
Right.
live cast press interactions also. So
Hmm.
when she tells industry people that I know this, everybody in the room knows that she knows it, because she's been a practitioner.
Correct.
Sure.
But I would say, as a regulator, she's done her job fairly well on all counts.
Okay.
At the risk of saying that some quarters of the market have felt that it's a bit of over regulation, but a strict regulator is not a
So
bad
let's bring
thing.
in, absolutely. Let's bring in Vikas on this very quickly. Closing comments, Vikas. One, is she a very strict regulator? And second, in a recent article that you wrote that we should take this Hindenburg report with a pinch of salt. Is it, from what I gather, you're not taking it with a pinch of salt, you're taking it with a fistful of salt. Am I right?
Absolutely. I think, like I keep on saying, that I think not only current SEBI chairperson Madhabi Puri Buch, and even in the past, SEBI as an institution has done a great job. Today, Indian capital markets are what they are because of the last 20-25 years of progressive regulation and forward thinking of all SEBI chairperson, and current chairperson is again very very progressive, market friendly. She wants to develop markets. She wants to be ahead of the curve. And today, I can tell you, I mean, we are talking about same day settlement. Nowhere in the world people are even thinking of that. They are struggling with T plus two. Now, this requires a lot of effort, a lot of progressive thinking, a lot of commitment to deliver things and develop markets. And this kind of people who have left their careers to do this for overall public good and in the markets, and somebody questions them, I think we all have to kind of, we've been long enough in the market, we have experience, we have gray hair, we know where things lie. So we have to kind of completely ignore it. And my request to you, something next time with folded hand, next time something like this happens, please don't do a show on this.
Okay, Vikas, well, you do your job, I'll do mine. All right. That's all we have to do, and that's all we can really do. But thank you so much for joining us with this perspective. Thank you, Mahalakshmi, for breaking down this Adani Hindenburg Sebi saga. It's on everyone's minds, and I think we've answered and addressed some very basic questions today. So, big thank you to both of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was
Thanks.
lovely chatting with you.